What if I told you every single decision that you have made has led up to this exact moment in your life? Would you have made better decisions? Every single decision you make will determine the trajectory of your family or your future family if you haven't created one of your own as of yet. When you start taking life more seriously, you understand that the level that you are playing at is simply just way too easy. And the reason why is because most people live a typical life in a modest home, 1 to 2 cars, providing for their family. Maybe living paycheck to paycheck, maybe having a little bit more so that way they can go on vacations once or twice a year. But if you would have dreamt bigger for yourself years ago, don't you think you would have been much further along than you are right now? Not needing to rely on others in order to create the exact life that you desire and that you deserve. If you believe that all you deserve is a nice family home, 1 or 2 cars, couple of kids, a loving spouse, and then that's all you're going to get. If you believe all you deserve is a 2-bedroom apartment in the middle of downtown in LA, that's all you're going to get. If you believe that you deserve a mansion or a castle, a chateau in France with a Bugatti, a Lamborghini, and a Ferrari, a loving family, loving husband, some nannies, some chefs, your spouse, your kids, and be able to support multiple people within your family, like your siblings, if you'd like, then you will have it. The idea that you implant into your own brain, the seed that you plant and you water, that is the seed that will grow. You would not have even gotten the idea of desiring the things that you want currently if it wasn't already meant for you. So if you want more, you need to dream bigger. You need to become more. And as you begin to dream bigger, you will then attract the opportunities in order to get the life that you want. You are the creator of your own reality. And if you're constantly someone who, for example, wants a family in the near future or in 10 years from now, what do you think that other partner is looking for? Become the kind of partner that that partner would want, or become as close as you can to the ideal version of the partner that you'd like, because that's how you will attract them. Now, if you're someone who wants someone who's loyal in the future, but you are exploring way too many options and not providing any clarity, then that is exactly what you're going to get in the future. Karma is a real thing. It's going to come back around and hit you, and it's going to hit you at a 10x. And so when someone tells you, oh, don't worry, you're going to get everything you deserve, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Like, you know what? I've been a pretty impeccable person. I've been amazing. So yes, I do get everything. I will be getting everything that I deserve. And it'll be a positive thing. But if you're someone who hasn't been living a righteous life, then you may not want the deserving that's going to come to you. So when you become more intentional with everything that it is that you're doing, you will then create the ideation of a perfect life for you. You constantly are going to come across challenges. If you have a big idea or a big vision for your life, there's not going to be an absence of challenges. Challenges will arise because that is God testing you to see if you are worthy of having the result that you desire, if you will not fold under pressure. There's always going to be pressuring situations. But how you overcome those situations is what shows the type of person that you are. And that type of person that you are and your character will then create the future version of yourself who can actually deserve the future things that you'd like and also be able to maintain it. There have been so many people that I know of who have made an exuberant amount of money and then lose it all in a year's time, in 2 years' time. Maybe it took them 10 years and it's gone because they didn't fully become the person to be able to not only just create that level of wealth, but maintain that level of wealth or even grow that level of wealth. And so God will stop you in your tracks, especially if you're not utilizing your funds in a way that's in service of others. Much will be given to the person who gives. Keep that in mind. Much will be given to the person who gives because they are going to be in service to others. They are going to do more good for the world. They are going to be able to have a ripple effect into creating positive change in others and in the societies or communities that they're servicing. I know some incredible, impeccable people. One of them is Shin Fujiyama. He is actually the head of Students Helping Honduras. And he went down to Honduras one year when he was in college and met this little girl named Isabella. And she asked him for help. She was no more than 6 years old. And he says, okay, I'm a broke college student, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to help you. Because I'm in a better position than what you currently have here, which is no roads, no shoes on your feet, staying home, taking care of your little siblings because your mother has to go out and work because the dad's not in the picture. When you are put in a more privileged position, it is your obligation to service and help others. That is how society is built. And when we create that level of support for one another, the world then becomes a better place. So yes, there should be more people doing this. The reason why I brought up Shin is because he went back to Honduras, figured it out, did fundraisers, and has now, I think they've built over 30 schools. His goal is 1,000. When I went, we were on school number 23, I think, or 25. No, 23. We were building school number 23. I was working in the village that he built, which is Villa Soleada, and he built a children's home. So all of the kids who lost their parents and had no home for themselves, he created the children's home, provide food for them, also provides education for them, because the only way out of poverty in that area is through education, being able to speak both English and Spanish, so that way they can have to be able to get a job. Because without having that knowledge and without that language barrier, it presents much less opportunity than there is more opportunity when it comes to the job sector. People who graduate from college in Honduras, they go on to work for multiple different companies, one of them being United Nations, Peace Corps. They literally are put in such a better position when the only other ideation that these children ever had growing up is that the only way to make money is to join the gangs, because that is what is around them. It's either, have a decent job and that decent job leaves you broke in that country, or look at all these teenagers who have all this money and all these cars and these sneakers, and they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. I think the two most prevalent gangs over there are MS-13 and MS-19. It's been a while, but it's still something that is a big issue. And he is making positive change outside of his family unit. He went to a whole nother country. He's originally, I believe, Japanese, and then studied in the States to go to college. I don't know if he lived in the States for a majority of his life. And then went to Honduras and started a whole movement across multiple different colleges. There's multiple different colleges that have this club now called Students Helping Honduras, and that was actually the first club I ever joined when I went to Stony Brook, and it was such a life-changing experience. And this story is related to why I don't complain. Because when you go to this foreign country and it's underdeveloped, so there's less roads, you don't really see much of anything besides shacks, like cinder block built houses with tin roofs. And you go to hang out with these people who live there, the natives, and they are just so happy and so loving and so thankful that you're even there, willing to help. And when I went over there and I saw that these people were so happy when they don't even have shoes on their feet, I said, I do not deserve to complain. And I was there. I worked, it was like a 7-day trip, I think. And I was only able to stay for 6 days. And the 7th day was just like a relaxing day with a party. I worked. I was turning cement. I was moving wheelbarrows. I was putting down cinder blocks. I was digging dirt with shovels. We were working. And by the 6th day or 5th day, I had gotten a heat stroke and literally vomited the whole day and just like was in bed, like out of commission for one of the last days there. And they also decided to show me how they make our food. And I have never seen any animals slaughtered for my meals before. And they pull out a chicken and say, we're going to show you how to cook your dinner. And they pull out this chicken, and you cannot cut off a chicken's head because when you cut the chicken's head off, it's still alive because it still runs. So the only way to humanely kill the chicken so that way it's dead when you kill it is to grab it by its neck and swing it really, really hard. I did not do that. I was barely able to watch. And for the rest of that week when I got home, I did not eat any chicken because I felt so bad. And the next day, I also barely ate, which is probably why I ended up with a heat stroke, because I didn't want to eat any of the food after I saw what happened. And I only ate like the tortillas with the beans. Yeah, so that was a very impactful experience I had in my life, and I'm very thankful that I got to even go. The girl who was the head of my club, her name is Colleen, and she actually moved on to work for the United Nations after she graduated. I was a freshman while she was a junior or senior, and she does absolute incredible work and still works with them till today. And I just cannot express the level of servitude that all of the people had when they went there to help out. And all the preparation throughout the entire semester, doing bake sales to raise money to go on the trip, because, you know, we're college students, like, and a lot of us are freshmen and we're dorming, and the expenses are a lot for someone who's just going into school and not working like an additional job. So we did bake sales. She showed up every single day. She baked. Primarily, the people who baked for the bake sales were the executives. So it was like the president of the club and then the secretary and treasurer, and that's it. Those were like 3 people who just went at it and baked for the whole week. And then on the weekends or 3 days a week, the members would come and it would help sell during the bake sale. And so that's how we were able to raise enough money to even go on the trip. I think the trip was like $1,900 or something. And what that did was paid for our food, our stay, some supplies, I believe, also as well for the school. And if you guys want to donate to them, I think it's called onecupofcoffee.com. And essentially it's like 1 cup of coffee a month. It's like a $5 donation, which is 1 cup of coffee, helps to feed one of their kids at the children's home. So if you guys want to do that, I'll go ahead and link the link down below. But I could not have been more thankful for that experience, because since then, the only thing that I have complained about has been the weather and maybe some aches in my body. That's pretty much it. I've never complained about external circumstances or things being too hard or, life being too stressful. I just don't complain. I get up and I action. I either action, or if it's time to take it easy and relax, then I'll do that. But having one of those experiences, if you haven't already, is absolutely incredible. And if you have kids or will have kids in the future, I highly recommend taking them out to see an underdeveloped country and actually do service there, whether it's building, whether it's teaching some kids at the children's home or at school, at their school. It's incredible because it changes who you are fundamentally. It makes you realize, let me put it this way. Prior to going to Honduras, I was middle class, and I'm not going to say I was spoiled, because I wasn't, because I never really asked for anything, because my mom was a single mom. So I didn't really I stopped asking for things at the age of about 12 years old. The last time I asked for something, I think, were new volleyball shorts and sneakers at the age of 14. And then that was it. That was the last thing I ever asked for. Because if I'm always going to be constantly told no, then why am I going to bother asking? I'll just figure out how to get it myself. So then I started working and providing for myself as much as I could without needing to ask anyone else for it. Because at that time I thought it was just burdensome. Because whenever I'd ask my mom for something, she'd go ask my dad, and then my dad would say, and they're not together, and my dad would say, why do I have to do it? So it was just like a financial burden that I felt like I was creating at the time. So I'm just like, okay, let me just not bother asking you for anything, and I'll just figure it out on my own. And that's exactly what I did. Now, when you put that sense of responsibility on a child, like, yes, it made me the person who I am today. Yes. Is that something that I would put my children through? Not necessarily, but you do need to create some sort of adversity financially, so that way those kids are not spoiled. And how I was prior to going to Honduras was simply just like, I was complaining. I was whiny. I was a little bit whiny. I worked hard. I was working a job while going to school at that time, I believe. Or when I wasn't in school, I was working a job. When I wasn't working a job, I was in school. And when I could do both, I did both. And extremely overachiever, straight A's. There wasn't anything that I wouldn't perform well at. And if I ever didn't perform well, I would just double down and do better, because that's the only thing you can do, is just get better. And I'd be whiny. I'm like, I'm tired. I have to do this. No, I get to do this. I get to be amazing every single day. I get to show up and go to work. I get these opportunities. It is a privilege. It is truly a privilege. And you don't understand that when you're only living in your own bubble. And that's why I absolutely love and adore traveling, because you get to see how other people live, and it puts yourself into perspective. It puts you and your family's situation into perspective. And then when you see people doing better than you in different places like Los Angeles, California, you then get to dream bigger. Like, what you thought was big, what you thought was like enough, you realize it's not even a pebble of what you could be asking the universe and God for. Not even a pebble. So when you start to dream bigger, when you start to create a plan of action towards that bigger vision, you will then attract that life, because you are not going to be given a vision that was not meant for you. Everything that you want is already yours. Everything that you desire is already yours. And when you have that understanding, it's solidified. It's solidified in the code. If you guys don't know, which I'm sure you know, everyone knows by now, we're living in a matrix, and it's a simulation. And whatever is happening internally will equally express itself externally, whether that be good or whether that be bad. And that's good and bad is simply just a human construct. It's, again, like I mentioned, I believe in my last video, it's a ripple effect. There's a ripple effect in your thoughts because your thoughts create your actions, and your thoughts create your words create your actions. And when you have negative language patterns, negative results will come back to you. When you have positive language patterns, positive actions and positive experiences will attract itself towards you. I have this saying where at one point I used to say, I want my life to be peaceful. It was peaceful. I was bored. After my life was peaceful, I said, okay, peaceful is kind of boring. How about I want my life to be bliss? And so then my life became blissful. And it was kind of like peaceful, but it was a little bit more happier. And then I said, you know what? This still isn't hitting. I want my life to be magical. And when I decided that my life be magical, magic started happening immediately. And it can be in the smallest little ways, but when you are aware of it, it's literally just amazing because you understand that you are a co-creator of your reality with the universe. You're co-creating with God. And when you co-create, you have to be extremely intentional with your language, extremely intentional with your thoughts, extremely intentional with your actions. Because all of that is culminating itself into the reality that you have now. And you can create these little glitches, these little hacks in the matrix when you understand how to control your own emotions and be in control of your own thoughts, be in control of the media that you're consuming, because it is extremely important in determining not only who you become, because it definitely affects that, but the inner thoughts that you are having on a daily basis. What your phone does, what television does, what all of this stuff does is simply, it's a program. You are programming yourself. And I'm pretty sure that you've been programmed crappy, So you have to reprogram yourself. The first way to break out of the matrix is by erasing everything that you think that you knew first. And then simply reprogramming yourself with more positive inputs, with people who are smarter than you, with people who know more than you. And then when you do that and smash it into your brain, I have this saying when I'm dealing with somebody who's very frustrating, after I tell them something and then they don't execute on it, I'm just like, you know what? Or they execute on it and execute on it wrong. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take this book and I'm going to smash it into your brain so that way you learn faster. And essentially, that's what you want to do for yourself when you are creating your new neural programming. That is why I create my own content. That is why when I have my kids, they're going to be watching content that I created. And it's going to have positive messaging in there, positive belief cycles. It's going to have how to deal with adversity, how to problem solve as they continue to get older. Without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this video because it's getting a little long now. Des Pena, aka Trillionaire Woman, signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.